Previously on Kaiju number 8, we saw an old man, if you consider 32 old, working as a trash boy cleaning up the remains of kaiju corpses. Yep, the great action work. Turns out our guy wanted to be a kaiju destroyer instead of kaiju cleaner back in his prime days. He promised his best friend, obviously, and that's his drive for the role. I cannot even get a text back from my friends. The best friend in question is Mina Ashiro, a captain of the Defense Forces. Important post, yet our guy can't even clear the test. Enter Reno. He just wanted to do some sort of internship here while he prepares for the Defense Forces entrance exam. We get a green light from that Kafka and can still apply one last time, but boy, do we get a banger before that. You can't even guess it? Maybe you can. He gains kaiju powers. Spider-Man way. Safe to say, Kafka clears the exam this time and ends up becoming a part of the Defense Forces. Yay! Finally! We have Kafka saving people left and right, being the main character that a tiny girl sees him in his kaiju form, interpreting that not all kaiju are bad. Enter Kaiju number 9, the one with a brain, which is a rare among these lot. Seems like he can shapeshift as well. This one brings hell to the squad on multiple occasions. Cut to the last main event of the season, we get a massive ball of destruction heading towards the base. Of course, it's Kafka's turn to shine, and we get a one-punch blow-off. That reveals the big secret, and we have the principal calling. Then we have the the chief of the Defense Forces beating his ass. Angry Kaiju takes over and tries to kill off the old geezer, but we have yet another heroic stunt by our main character, punching himself in the core to stop the Kaiju inside of him, killing the beast inside of him instead of the geezer. What a world we live in. Cue in Season 2, or you call it Episode 13 if you may, we have a flashback nightmare-infused opening sequence. Young Kafka, Hibino, and Mina Ashiro are seen doing cardio they never signed up for, sprinting away from a kaiju attack. Trauma bonding at its finest. But wait, plot twist, turns out it's just a dream. Because what's better than childhood trauma? Repressed adult nightmares! Kafka wakes up hyperventilating in what looks like a solitary confinement cell. Mood lighting, 0 amenities, 5-star government hospitality. Of course, all this is courtesy of Shinomiya Isao, the stoic granddaddy of the Defense Forces with a steel spine and 0 patience for people who turn into kaiju mid-shift. The man looks like he's made of granite and bad decisions. Meanwhile, he shifts gears to our supporting duo, Reno and Hiharu, who've been demoted. Transferred to the 2nd Division, while the 3rd gets a facelift. Remember how Kafka trashed the whole base last season while trying to protect the base? Yeah, that reconstruction. On their way, Reno does his best shonen speech impersonation, saying how he still believes in Kafka and how he wants to keep him safe. Keep Kafka safe? Did we forget he's a whole kaiju shifting guy and us being kept in confinement for how dangerous he is? Cute. Touching. But I don't care. I came for kaiju smashing and explosive melodrama, not this wholesome bro-to-bro loyalty speech, which doesn't even make sense. Reno was right there when Kafka got the powers, if you guys remember Season 1. Anyway, then comes the golden child, Kikoru Shinomiya, in the 1st Division's waiting room. Why? Because she's about to join the most elite squad in the Defense Force. How elite, you ask? Times Square tier elite. Literally, they have ads running in Times Square. These people don't just fight kaiju, they also moonlight as influencers. I'm expecting their next YouTube vlog, how we took down a kaiju and boosted our follower content. Astronomer, CEO, and HR lady type. Okay, my bad. I'm seeing it everywhere. Can you really blame me? In walks E.G. Hasegawa, the 1st Division's vice captain and token serious adult. He leads Kikoru into the captain's den, where expectations go to die. Drum roll, and enter Captain Narumi Gen. Except instead of a chiseled war hero, we get a man-child burrito wrapped in a blanket, playing video games on the floor like a teenage Twitch streamer. All of Kikoru's hopes and anticipation shattered. All of ours elevated. Because this guy, an interesting character. And just like that, the kaiju alert goes off. Perfect timing, because it was getting a bit too comfy in the gamer den. We get a surprisingly well-animated transition showing how the kaiju alert goes through the system. It's slick, fast, and way more competent than some government agencies I won't name. The 1st Division boards their helicopter like they're starring in Mission Impossible Monster Hunter Edition. Kikoru is overwhelmed and spiked at the sight of everyone just existing with 40% plus combat power. It's like walking into a gym where everyone's benching buildings and she's just trying to figure out how to use the elliptical. Now, brace yourself for the episode's main event, the kaiju attack. Except it's not just any kaiju, it's what looks like a budget cosplay of Godzilla. The music even tries to pass itself off as epic, but instead gives strong, we had $5 left for the soundtrack vibes. And you know what? It hits like a crack to the back, baby. Narumigen in all his barefoot glory jumps out of the chopper and one hits this poor overgrown lizard like it insulted his KD ratio. Boom! One slash. Blood rains. Kaiju sushi everywhere. The city's probably not even insured for this nonsense. I already feel bad for the cleaner squad who gotta clean up this mess after these flashy guys are gone. Now here's the kicker. After the kaiju is turned into red confetti, we cut to Gen Googling himself. Yes, this grown-ass man just slayed a monster with the power of raw gamer energy and immediately hit the search bar like, did they catch that on camera? Peak millennial behavior. Kikoru's admiration? Flushed down the metaphorical toilet. Aura? Gone. Gen's new title? Captain Cringe, commander of self-obsessed simps. Meanwhile, Kafka's still enjoying his prison Airbnb. 5 days in, he finally gets summoned to meet the chief. On his way, he crosses paths with Kikoru because they are now playing the we don't know each other game. They exchange absolutely 0 words and move on like awkward coworkers who hooked up once at an office party. Inside the office, Shinomiya lays down the plot bomb. Kafka's going to be transferred to the First Division. Yep, the elite squad, the blanket-wrapped gamer zone, the Times Square crew. Kafka looks like he just got told he won the lottery and also owes taxes on it. Naturally, Captain Gen isn't thrilled. Who wants a ticking kaiju time bomb on their squad? Kafka begs for a chance, throwing in every anime protagonist line ever written. I have dreams. I can't die yet. Cue dramatic strings, audience teary eyes, and Naruto flashbacks somewhere a ghostly All Might is nodding in approval. The episode ends with Kafka on the brink of joining Gen's circus. Oh, and Gen's probably still Googling his own name.